Yeah, boss of YouTube. Now wait, before you close the video, hear me out here for the next minute or so. Now, yes, I know this is not a Wi-Fi battle. I've still not been able to get Wi-Fi back on my 3DS just yet. But I remembered something that I actually used to do around this time last year, and that was post-narrated showdown battles. Except I want to do something a little bit different. I want to do something that one of my good friends, Tony Flagon, has actually recently been doing on his channel, where he does narrate the replay battles, but he does it off of the replay itself, as you can see right here. And throughout the video, when important parts come up, he pauses it, and then he explains his thought process and how things are going on. And that's what I kind of want to do. I want this to be very informative. Obviously, I will not be uploading every showdown battle like this. I am going to be laddering a bit more on my account, on this Dolph the Show Off account, in UU, RU, and Ubers, and all the other tiers that I'm interested in. So I can bring you guys good post-narrated showdown battles. So if you guys would like to see more of these, at least just give this one a try. Then tell me at the end of the video, leave a comment down below if you would like to see more narrations like these and battles like these. And make sure to hit that like button so I can see just how exactly many people do enjoy them. I know that didn't come out right, but you get what I'm trying to say. Anyways, the team that I will be using in this battle is just kind of one that I threw together. I really wanted to use Choice Specs, Hydreigon, and defensive Arcanine. Then I threw in specially defensive Celebi, Scarf Manchow, Salt Vest Escavalier, and my normal default Crobat. Now looking at my opponent's team, right off the bat I see that he has nothing for Crobat, so automatically I'm thinking, alright, I'm going to lead off with Crobat so I can go straight for a Brave Bird and try to get off damage on whatever he leads off with. Or if he does lead off with Manchow, he can U-turn, then I can get incoming damage on whatever he switches in. But looking at threats, I knew that Honchkrow would be a major problem if I lost my Arcanine, so I really have to make sure to keep Arcanine around. Also, Florges, if I lose my Escavalier, is going to be a major pain in my ass to deal with. Chandelure with the proper prediction could actually destroy my entire team, especially if he is a Choice Specs variant. So he does have a lot of major threats on his team. So with that being said, let's get the battle started. Alright, so as I said, I'm going to be leading off with my Crobat, as he is going to be leading off with his Manchow. I know that I should be able to take any one hit that he wants to go for, so I'm going to go straight for the Brave Bird as he ends up switching directly into his Tangrowth. I'm able to get off a solid 45% amount of damage on that, which is really great, and then predicting him to want to go for the Sleep Powder or Lychee possibly. I end up going for the Taunt, but he turns out to have the knockoff, which I don't really face too many Tangrowths, so I don't know if that's standard on Tangrowth nowadays, as I'm just going to stay in and I'm going to go for the Roost. On the off chance that he does want to go for the knockoff, I don't want anything else on my team to have their item knocked off, as I'm going to stay in and go for the Brave Bird. And the way that he's playing his Tangrowth has me thinking that he most likely is just going to fodder this off first than anything else on his team, which is going to be really great for me because that's one less thing I have to worry about. So after he got the crit with the knockoff, I'm going to be forced to go for the Roost as he switches into his Manchow. I know from prior experience that I can take any one attack that Manchow wants to go for, especially because he is Scarfed. So he ends up going for the Stone Edge. He gets a crit and he's able to knock me out. Now this was actually pretty crucial because one thing on my team that could take a high jump kick is now gone. Second off, as I said in the intro, Crobat was going to be a major help in this battle because, as you can see from his team, Nothing Safely wants to take a Brave Bird coming for my Crobat. Not to mention that my Crobat could actually beat Florges one-on-one because I can taunt him and I can stall out the Moonblasts, and because I resist it, I can stay in, boost off damage, and eventually beat him one-on-one with Brave Bird and Taunt combination, which means his biggest threat is gone. Unfortunately, because he crit me now, Florges has become a little bit more of a problem, which means I need to save my Escavalier if I want any chance to get rid of it. So he ends up knocking me out with the crit, as I am now going to end up bringing in my Escavalier. I know that he's going to be forced to switch out, so I'm going to predict him to want to bring in the Chandelure, and I go for the knockoff, but he actually brings in the Tangrowth as I'm able to get off a solid amount of damage. I know that he's going to go for the knockoff, but I want to be able to get rid of this Tangrowth just so I can keep up offensive pressure on my side, as I'm able to knock him out with the Mega Horn. He then ends up bringing in the Honchkrow, fearing the fact that he could possibly have the Heat Wave or go straight for a Brave Bird. I switch directly into my max defense, max HP Arcanine. As I'm able to take the Brave Bird, it actually ends up doing a bit more damage than I thought it would. Luckily though, it's not a 2 KO. Then this turn, predicting him to bring in the Chandelure, predicting me to go for like a Will-O-Wisp or a Flamethrower, I double switch into my Hydreigon, but he actually switches into a Starmie, which means now I am going to be forced to switch out. As I bring in my Celebi, he ends up going for the Ice Beam, and then predicting him to want to switch out, I'm actually going to stay in and I'm going to go for the Stealth Rocks, but he makes a very, very nice play, predicts me to over-predict, and goes for the Ice Beam again. As this turn, I make a really dumb play. At this point in the battle, I did not need my Celebi. The fact that I switched into my Escavalier was so beyond stupid that if I had not done this, this battle would have gone a little bit easier. And I just made things more difficult for myself, because I had actually forgot that he knocked off the Assault Vest on my Escavalier, which means after the Ice Beam damage, he might actually have a chance to knock me out with the Hydro Pump. So he goes for the Ice Beam. I'm thinking, okay, I can easily take a Hydro Pump, knock him out, then save Escavalier for the Florges. No. He ends up knocking me out, which means the second thing that I had for Florges is now gone. And Florges has just become an even bigger problem and an even bigger nuisance than it already was, which means I have to find some way to take down that bulky ass threat of a Pokemon. So I bring in my Manchow, and here I end up making what I would say is a bit of a risky play. I go for the knockoff, predicting him to actually want to switch out, because if he had bought in the Florges and I had stayed in and gone for the knockoff, if he did have Toxic and I switched into, let's say, my Arcanine would be crippled, which means the one switch in that I have for Honchkrow and Manchow would be gone. Although yes, most Florges tend to carry Aromatherapy, I have seen some with Toxic. But I could have gone for the U-turn this turn, but I knew that ultimately going for knockoff, being a more aggressive play, would be the better play in the long run of the battle, even if he did want to bring in his Florges. And he actually brings in the Chandelure, most likely thinking that I would want to go for the U-turn, and if he did have the Flame Body, he could possibly burn me. As I'm able to knock out the Chandelure, that is one less threat that I have to worry about. As he brings in the Manchow, I don't want to take a possible high jump kick, so I end up switching directly into my Arcanine, hoping that after the Intimidate, I will not get 2 KO'd by the high jump kick. Thankfully, I don't. As this turn, I believe I end up going for the Extreme Speed, predicting him to want to bring in the Starmie, thinking that I would want to go for the Morning Sun, but he actually just ends up bringing in his Florges. Now this right here is kind of a bit of a stally part in the battle. I stay in and I go for the Will-O-Wisp, just trying to scout out to see if he has either Aromatherapy or Toxic, because if he has Aromatherapy, eventually I will beat him one-on-one, because Will-O-Wisp has 24 PP, as where Aromatherapy only has 8 PP, which means I am going to be able to burn him in the long run of the battle. But if he has Toxic, I know that he is now permanently burned. Unfortunately though, I do risk the fact that he could Toxic my Arcanine, and as I said, Arcanine is the only thing that I have for his Honchkrow and his Manchow, so it does turn out that he has Aromatherapy. And if you're wondering why I'm not going for my Fire Stab move, is because this is actually a relaxed natured Arcanine, and it has Extreme Speed, Flamethrower, Morning Sun, and Will-O-Wisp. So he predicts me to go for Will-O-Wisp as he brings in the Starmie. I don't think that an Extreme Speed will be able to knock him out, so I'm going to be forced to switch out into my Celebi as he ends up going for the Hydro Pump. This is actually really good for me, because now I put him in a position where he can either A, go for the Rapid Spin to get rid of the rocks for his Honchkrow, or B, go for the offensive play and he ends up getting knocked out by the Life Orb recoil damage and the burn damage. So ultimately I decided just to go for the Stealth Rocks again on the off chance that he did want to go for the Rapid Spin, but he makes the more aggressive play and he ends up going for the Ice Beam as it is going to be a double down. I am now going to bring in my Hydreigon, thinking that he would actually bring in the Florges, but he actually ends up bringing in his own Honchkrow. Because I am faster than him, I'm going to be able to easily knock him out with the Flash Cannon as he brings in the Manchow. Right here, I make a very, very questionable play. I switched directly into my Manchow, thinking that he would go for that high jump kick, so by foddering off my Manchow, I could then bring in my Arcanine, get the Intimidate off, and if it really came down to it, I would have a stall war with my Arcanine against his Florges. Now, probably what I should have done was switched into my Arcanine as opposed to my Manchow. Left in Arcanine for fodder because, as you see, he actually ends up going for the Stone Edge. Then this way I could bring back in my Manchow, lock myself into high jump kick, and 2-hit KO the Florges. So I bring in my Manchow and I make yet another really dumb play. Instead of actually going for the high jump kick, I instead double switch into my Hydreigon. I didn't go for U-turn, I double switched into my Hydreigon, predicting the Florges, and now I'm going to stay in and I'm going to go for the Flash Cannon because I want to get off as much damage as I can on this Florges, hopefully bringing him down to the point where my Manchow can come in and revenge kill him with the high jump kick, just because Florges actually does not have the best defenses around. Now, I know that he's going to go for the Protect, but what I'm going to do anyways is go for that high jump kick. This way, I put him in a position where if he really wants to risk it, he can go for the double Protect. Or he can just hope that he lives a high jump kick, because at the amount of HP that he's at, he actually has a slight little chance to live high jump kick coming from Scarf Reckless Manchow, although I would have to get a really low damage roll. So here is the moment of truth. He does not go for the double Protect. I'm able to not get minimum damage. I knock him out as he brings in his Manchow. At this point, even if he ends up winning the speed tie, my Arcanine can come in, intimidate him, and I win with Arcanine, and that is going to be the narrow 2-0 victory in my favor. So yes, I did really misplay near the end of that battle. Luckily though, I was able to salvage myself and come back and still pull out the victory. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this style of narration. If you didn't, by all means leave a comment down below, let me know. And if you did like this style and would like to see more of this, make sure to click the like button down below. If this gets a good amount of likes, I would definitely continue doing this, and if this does also get a good amount of comments, I will continue to do them. So yeah, with that guys, I will see you all soon. So later everybody.